मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुरा
वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
पाणिर्मधुराः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरनौ रघुवर विमल जसु जोदायकु फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरन विराज सुवेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिवे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिवे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस वदन तुम्हारो जस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संभारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है, प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, सबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महा सुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. In Zoom meeting, if you want to turn off the notification of Zoom chats, then click on the chats and then click on these three dots. Turn off notifications, click on that. Click on the mute option, and now chats notification will not disturb you. Jai Shri Krishna.
सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय श्री कृष्ण। श्री कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। A very warm welcome to all the Geeta series and sadhakas joining us today. It is heartening to see all our spiritual community gathered today, all driven by a shared goal to grow closer to the divine. Today we are having the second interpretation session of the fourth adhyaya, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Let us now seek the Almighty's blessings. To recite the prarthana, we have Srimati Vanishri S. G with us. Vanishri G is a homemaker and an artist associated with Geeta Pariwar since 2023. Didi Ji is offering seva in the calling department. Jai Shri Krishna. Vanishri Ji Didi, we request you to recite. Jai Shri Krishna.
Shall I start, ma'am?
Yes, please go ahead.
Vasudeva sutan devam kamsachanuramardanam devaki paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru.
Thank you, Panishi Didi, for the beautiful prayer. Now it is time for Deepa Prajwalan. May the Jyoti lead us from the shadows of doubt into clarity of light. As Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. We have Srimati Vrinda Kudakudiya ji with us to light the lamp. Vrinda ji is a creative designer and associated with Gita Pariwar since 2024. Didi ji is giving seva as a texter, pracharak, and also graphics designer. We request Vrinda ji Didi to do the Deepa Prajwalan.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृताम् कलहंसकृतावासाम् वरदां शारदां नुमः वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Vrindaji Didi, for that beautiful Deepa Prajwalan and for giving the auspicious beginning to today's session. A quick announcement before we get started. New level 1 Gita batch is going to start from 7th of August. We request you to share the link of this registration, a link joingeeta.com with your family and friends. By sharing, you can act as a catalyst, guiding your near and dear ones on the sacred path of Gita sadhana. Now we come to the heart of the session, the moment we all have been waiting for. It is indeed a true privilege to introduce our Vivechak, respected Shri Vikas Vaidya ji Bhaiya ji. Based in Pune, Vikas ji Bhaiya ji beautifully balances both the professional and deep spiritual devotion as well. He is a mechanical engineer and management professional who runs his own IT firm built on a solid global experience of 12 plus years. He is also a gifted polyglot, fluent in 6 languages, including Spanish and Indonesian. But what truly sets him apart is his awe-inspiring spiritual discipline. For more than 5 years, Vikas Ji Vaidya Ji has undertaken the rigorous daily sadhana of reciting all 18 chapters of the Bhagavad-Gītā. As a pillar of Gita Pariwar, he mentors the mentor and training program across level 1 to 4. He also leads the Vishnu Sahasranamas Vivechan sessions as well. Vikas Ji's mastery was honored with the first prize in the Gita Kanthastha exam awarded by Pujya Jagadguru Shankaracharya of Sringeri Peetha. Today, he channels that same expertise to guide other seekers. Vikas Ji doesn't just speak on the Gita, he truly embodies it. Please join me in welcoming Shri Vikas Ji Vaidya Ji to today's session. Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya Ji, we are all very eager to learn from Deep.
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Thanks for a nice introduction. So shall we start?
Yes, please, Bhaiya Ji. Looking forward to it. Dhanyawad.
So I think in last sessions, Kavitaji had taken up to shlok number 6. Ajopi sannam vyatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakriti swamadhishtaya sambhavam yatnamaya. God had said that although I am unborn, Ajopi, Aja means unborn, eternal, and Lord of all beings, I manifest myself through my own divine power, that is Maya, while remaining in complete control of my own nature. My birth is not like that of ordinary beings. It is a conscious and divine incarnation for the welfare of the world. So Lord Krishna had explained in that shloka that he is eternal and unborn. Yet, he voluntarily takes the human form whenever necessary. Unlike human birth, which is governed by karma, his incarnation is divine, purposeful, and under his complete control, undertaken to protect righteousness and guide the humanity. So this was 6th shloka. Continuing with 7th shloka. Now the question is, God had said, okay, I am eternal, unborn, and I voluntarily take human form. But question is, when does he take that human form? What decides that he takes that human form? That is explained by Shri Krishna in the next shloka. Today's first, the very famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada, whenever. Yada yada and tada dada will come together. So yada yada, whenever. Dharmasya, of the righteousness, of dharma, of virtue, of moral order. Glani. Glani means decline, deterioration, weakening of it. Bhavati. Bhavati means happens, it occurs. Bharat, that is Arjuna. Abhyutthanam. Abhyutthanam is rise, increase. Adharmasya, of unrighteousness. Tada, then. Yada yada and tada. Atmanam, myself. Srujami, manifest, create or incarnate. Aham, I. God says, whenever, yada yada, whenever righteousness declines, glani is decline. So when righteousness declines and unrighteousness becomes dominant, Arjuna, I manifest myself to restore dharma. So this is one of the most celebrated shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. It gives humanity immense hope. Lord Krishna assures us that he never abandons the world. He creates the world, he never abandons the world. Whenever evil appears to overpower goodness and people begin to lose faith in truth and justice, God intervenes in one form or the another. Many people interpret this shloka to mean that the God takes birth only as a great divine incarnations like Shri Ram or Shri Krishna. While this is certainly true that Shri Ram and Shri Krishna were incarnations of God only, the deeper meaning is much broader than this. Whenever dharma declines, God manifests through different means, not only taking avatars, through saints, Swamijis, through enlightened teachers, through noble leaders, compassionate individuals, inspiring ideas, and even though unexpected events that may awaken the society. The question comes is, what is dharma? Yada yada hi dharmasya. The question is, what is dharma? Dharma is often translated by us as religion. Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai is dharma. But here it means much more than that. That time there was no other dharma. Dharma means truthfulness. Dharma means compassion, justice, responsibility, honesty, self-control, respect for parents, care for the society. Duty performed with sincerity is dharma, and living in harmony with God's created laws, that is dharma. For a family person, dharma begins at home. A father earning honestly despite financial pressure is practicing dharma. A mother lovingly caring for the family without expecting appreciation is practicing her dharma. Children respecting elders and studying sincerely are practicing their dharma. Businessmen refusing dishonest profits, they are practicing dharma. Employees working honestly even without supervision, they are practicing dharma. Thus, dharma is not merely worship, it is the righteous living. So God says, Yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati. Glani. When the glani, dharma glows under glani, that means what is decline of dharma then? The decline of dharma does not happen overnight. It begins when people slowly compromise with truth. For example, lies become acceptable in society. झूठ बोलना becomes a practice. People start accepting that बोलना पड़ता है झूठ क्या करें. Corruption becomes normal. पैसा लेना पड़ता है, क्या करें, normal. Relationships become selfish. Greed replaces the contentment. Anger replaces patience. People stop caring for the weak. Worship becomes ritual without values. Externally, the society may appear prosperous, but internally, dharma becomes weak and weak. Similarly, in our own hearts, dharma declines when the selfish desires overpower consciousness. More than God realization, when our attention goes more to the material prosperity only, you can say that adharma is on increase and dharma is on decline. Now, adharma is increasing, God says. Rise of adharma. Shri Krishna says, abhyuthanama adharmasya. When adharma rises. Adharma is not merely crime happening in the society. Adharma includes ego, ahankar in the society, jealousy, hatred, dishonesty, violence, addiction, exploitation, arrogance, and irresponsibility. They all constitute adharma. When society is dominated by all these characteristics, you can say adharma is on the increase. Notice that Krishna does not say adharma suddenly appears. He says it rises. So it also slowly rises, not overnight. Like the weeds in a neglected garden, adharma grows gradually when dharma is neglected. Now, when the God's manifestation takes place, the most comforting part of this shloka is tadatmanam sujamyaham. God's promise to us, tadatmanam sujamyaham. Then I manifest myself. God's manifestation is not limited by time or by place. Sometimes he becomes an avatar. Sometimes through Sant, like Sant Dhaneshwar, Sant Tukaram. Sometimes through a guru. Sometimes through some scriptures. Sometimes through a difficult life experience that changes a person's heart forever. Sometimes through a simple conversation that redirects someone's life. Like Geeta Pariwar is conducting classes for the jail inmates. One simple vivation changes their life. They start doing dhyan dharana. Apijit sudharacharo bhajite maminen bhag sadhurva samanta samyak vyasovistaha. Papi se papi आदमी भी संत बन सकता है. When they start doing dharana, dhyan on this morning only they did it, the dhyan on this shloka, and we could see the difference in them. So God's grace works in countless unseen ways. Many householders feel discouraged by the increasing dishonesty around them. They wonder, is there any point in remaining honest? Everywhere we see dishonesty only. Shri Krishna answers in this shloka. Never abandon dharma because others have abandoned it. Your responsibility is to protect dharma within your own home. If every family preserves honesty, kindness, devotion, the society automatically becomes healthier. Large changes begin with small household changes. That we should always remember. मेरे अकेले करने से क्या होगा? Don't never think that. A school principal once discovered that during an examination, one student had accidentally received an answer sheet before the test. The student quietly returned that answer sheet, very honestly, without reading it. His classmates laughed at him. You missed an easy opportunity to score 100 out of 100. You got the answer sheet by mistake. You could have copied down everything from that. Years later, the same student became a respected judge, known for his integrity. One journalist asked him, where did your honesty begin? As a judge, where did your honesty begin? He smiled and replied, the day I returned the answer sheet. The day I returned that paper, that day my honesty began. At that moment, the dharma had protected, not by an incarnation, appearing with divine weapons, but by a young boy listening to his conscience. That is also rise of dharma only in his heart. That conscience itself is God's presence in us. A businessman was offered a lucrative contract on the condition that he pays a substantial bribe. Itna commission dena padega. Accepting it would have doubled his income, but he declined because it violated his principles. For a while, he struggled financially, and some acquaintances mocked his decision as impractical. Months later, a well-known company, having heard of his integrity, his honesty, awarded him a large contract without any unethical conditions. His reputation for honesty became his greatest asset. By standing firm when dharma seemed inconvenient, he became an instrument through which righteousness inspired others. His example reminded employees, his competitors also, and even his children that success built on character, it lasts longer than the success built on compromises in life. So this shloka, Yada Yada Dharmasya, is a timeless assurance that God is never indifferent to the moral conditions of the world. Whenever righteousness declines and unrighteousness gains strength, he manifests to restore the balance. For family people like us, this shloka is a call not merely to wait for a divine incarnation, but to become participants in God's work by living truthfully, compassionately, and courageously. Don't expect God to take avatar every time. Why don't we improve our character? Every home that upholds dharma becomes a beacon of light, and every act of integrity becomes a small yet powerful expression of the divine restoring harmony in the world. If we follow God's principle in our life, God will say, good. Without my taking avatar, you guys are improving. So this is when the God takes the avatar. Now the question is, after taking avatar, what does the God do? We do many karmas after taking our birth, mostly material enjoyment. What does the God do? That is said in the next shloka, 8th shloka. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya, that means for protection, for rescuing, for preservation. Sadhunam, sadhu is not the one who are wearing saffron clothes, but of the righteous, of the virtuous, of the noble-hearted people. They are sadhus. Vinashaya, for destruction. Dushkrutam, of the wicked people, evildoers, those engaged in sinful actions are dushkrutam. Dharma is righteousness, moral order in the society. Samsthapanarthaya, for establishment or for restoration. Sambhavami, I manifest myself, I incarnate. Yuge yuge, age after age, in every era. So Lord Krishna says, I manifest myself in every age. Sambhavami yuge yuge. To protect righteousness, paritranaya sadhunam, destroy the forces of evil. Vinayasya dushkritam, and to re-establish dharma, righteousness, dharma samsthapanarthaya. So this shloka continues the promise made in the earlier shloka, Yada Yada Dharmasya. Lord Shri Krishna explains that when he incarnates, whenever dharma declines. In this shloka, he explains why he incarnates. He mentions 3 divine purposes of his taking avatar or taking incarnation. First, to protect the righteousness, paritranaya sadhuna. Second, to destroy evil, vinashaya dushkritam. And third, to restore dharma, dharma samsthapanarthaya. These 3 purposes are not limited to the great incarnations like Shri Ram or Shri Krishna alone. They also operate in our daily lives through God's unseen guidance to us, through noble people, through wise teachings, and through our own awakened conscious. Gita Pariwar was created under this guidance, Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. We are learning Gita, we are discussing Gita week after week for years, Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. So God doesn't have to take incarnation every time. He changes our intellect. He pushes that thought in our mind, and then we start walking on that path of dharma, that is following the dharma. Protection of righteousness. The word sadhu does not refer to only monks or to saints living in the forest. A sadhu is anyone whose heart is pure and whose conduct is righteous. A householder who earns honestly, cares for elderly parents, loves the family selflessly, fulfills responsibilities sincerely, and remembers God in his daily life is also a sadhu. In the broader sense of sadhu, he is also a sadhu. Such people often, some people often wonder, why do people suffer when dishonest people seem to prosper? This question comes to our mind many times. We see a lot of corrupt people prospering and some honest people suffering. Krishna does not promise that righteous people will never face difficulties in life. Even great devotees like Pandavas endured hardships in their lives. Half of their life was wasted in forest only. Vanvas. His promise is much deeper. Shri Krishna's promise is much deeper. He protects their inner strength. He protects their faith, their shraddha, their dignity, and ultimately their spiritual progress. The protection may not always come in the form of what we expect, that he will make us rich financially. But God never abandons those who sincerely walk the path of dharma. Second objective of the dharma is the incarnation is destruction of evil. Vinashaya dushkritam. The phrase Vinashaya dushkritam is often misunderstood as referring only to destruction of evil people. The Gita teaches a subtler truth. God primarily destroys evil tendencies. Evil tendencies include greed, anger, pride, jealousy, hatred, dishonesty, violence, and selfishness. Sometimes these tendencies, they disappear through life's experiences. Sometimes they are removed through guidance of a guru, the study of scriptures, sincere prayers, or deep self-reflection. When these negative qualities are destroyed, that is vinashaya dushkritam, a person experiences true victory. Even in society, evil eventually weakens because falsehood cannot sustain itself forever. Truth may appear slow, but it is always enduring. Third objective of incarnation of God is restoration of dharma. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. The third purpose is perhaps the most important. God does not merely remove the evil, he establishes righteousness in the place. If weeds are removed from garden, but no flowers are planted, the weeds will soon return, isn't it? Similarly, after removing selfishness, one must cultivate compassion. After overcoming anger, one must develop patience. After giving up dishonesty, one must embrace truthfulness. The establishment of dharma begins within each individual, his heart, and then spreads to families, to communities, and to the nations. Now, this slok has a profound relevance for every family even today, though it was said 5,500 years back. Parents often worry about raising their children in a world where dishonesty, materialism, and unhealthy influence seem widespread. Shri Krishna's message is very reassuring. Do not lose hope. Instead of complaining about society, begin by establishing dharma within your own home. Simple practice, making a tremendous difference in our life. Speak truthfully, eat together with gratitude, respect elders, pray together, forgive mistakes quickly, don't carry it, earn honestly, help those in need, teach children by personal example rather than lecture. Children, they observe our behavior and they learn more from our behavior than our lectures. A home built on these values becomes a place where dharma naturally flourishes. God likes that. A young accountant worked for a company where many employees quietly manipulated financial records to gain personal benefits. Accounts mein hera-pheri. His manager suggested that he does the same, saying, everyone does it, tum bhi karo. The young man politely refused. As a result, he was ignored for promotions and sometimes ridiculed. Several years later, an external audit uncovered the fraud. Many senior employees lost their jobs. The only records found completely accurate were this fellow's records. The company appointed him to lead the financial department because they trusted his integrity and honesty. His honesty protected not only his career, but also the reputation of his family. His children later said, "Our father taught us that character is more valuable than money." This is restoration of Dharma. This is how Dharma is preserved. Not through dramatic miracles in life, but through quiet courage. So this shloka assures us that God never abandons humanity. His divine purpose is to protect righteousness, remove power of evil, and firmly establish the Dharma. While these purposes are fulfilled through divine incarnations, they are also carried forward through ordinary people who choose honesty over deceit, compassion over selfishness, and duty over convenience. If you follow this path, then we are helping the God in the restoration of Dharma. Only complaining that why God is not taking incarnation, why God is not taking avatar, why don't we help God by changing our behavior? We know what is right and what is wrong. So for family people, this shloka is an invitation to transform their homes into centers of righteousness. Every home can become Dharma Sanstha Panardhaya, a center of Dharma Sanstha Panardhaya. Every truthful word, every selfless action, and every act of kindness, it becomes a part of God's timeless mission of restoring Dharma. Why not we help God in restoring Dharma instead of complaining again and again about God only? So this is how we can contribute ourselves to Paramatma's mission. Next shloka, 9th. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. Janma karma, these words we know already. Divyam is divine, transcendental, not ordinary. Vetti is to understand, to know. Tattvataha, in truth, in real essence. Tyaktva is to give, relinquish. Deham, the body. Punarjanma, rebirth. Mamo, me. Iti comes to Saha, Sarvanam in Sanskrit, that person. So God says, whoever truly understands the divine nature of my birth and the actions, Janma Karma Medivyam, is freed from the cycle of birth. Taktva Deham Punarjanma Naitimameti Sorjana. And after leaving the body, that ultimately attains to me only. He attains me only. Now, merely understanding these two shlokas, Yada Yada Dharmasya and Paritranaya Sadhunam, will they guarantee moksha? We need to bring them in our life. As I said, we need to assist God in the reestablishment of Dharma by changing our behavior. If we follow God's principle, then God's promise is there that we get freed from the cycle of birth and death. So this shloka reveals one of the most profound spiritual truths in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna explains that merely knowing that he was born in Mathura or that he performed great deeds is not enough. Krishna Bhagavan ने ऐसा ऐसा किया, ठीक है, पता हो गया आपको भी. Everybody knows that. Merely knowing that is not enough. What liberates a person is understanding the divine nature, divyam, of his birth and his actions. Shri Krishna's birth is unlike the birth of ordinary human beings. We are born because of our past karmas, and we get bodied suited to our past karmas. And we are bound by ignorances and by our limitations. God, however, is never compelled by karma. He manifests out of his own free will and moved by compassion and the need to restore dharma. His mission is entirely different. His actions are never motivated by selfish desires or fear or personal gains. They are expressions of divine wisdom and unconditional love. Therefore, Shri Krishna says that one who understands this truth tattvataha in its real essence he becomes free from rebirth and he attains him. Now, what does divine birth means? When Shri Krishna says, Janma me divyam, my birth is divine, he is teaching us that his appearance in the world is not like ours. Our birth is determined by our past karmas, our desires, our attachments, our ignorance. God has none of these limitations. He appears by his own will, free will, for the welfare of all beings. Just as the sun rises every morning without being compelled by anyone. Do you go to wake up the sun? Oh, get up. Nobody wakes up the sun. God manifests whenever humanity needs his guidance. Understanding this changes our relationship with God. We no longer see him merely as historical figure, but as an eternal divine who lovingly guides humanity across all ages. So that was his divine Janma. Now what is divine Divya Karma? Sri Krishna actions are equally unique. Human beings usually act with expectations to earn money, to gain praise, or to achieve success, or to satisfy desires. Shri Krishna acts without selfish motive. Whether lifting Govardhan hill, or guiding Arjuna, or protecting devotees, every action is performed only for good of the world. This teaches us an important lesson in life. While we may not yet be free of all desires, we can gradually make our actions more selfless. A parent caring for a child, a teacher educating students, or a doctor serving patients with sincerity, it reflects a glimpse of this divine attitude. We need to copy Krishna in our daily life. Now, what is understanding Tattvataha? The word in this shloka is Tattvataha, understanding in truth, in essence. This does not mean memorizing stories about Krishna. It means realizing God is eternal. His incarnation are acts of compassion. His actions are free from selfishness. He is always working for the welfare of all beings. By following his example, we can purify our own lives, is knowing him Tattvataha. Such understanding transforms our heart. Faith becomes stronger, fear becomes weaker, and devotion becomes deeper in our heart. God says, you get freedom from rebirth. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. This means that one who truly realizes God's divine nature is no longer bound by the cycle of repeated birth and death. Why? Because ignorance is the root cause of our bondage. We did not know how to perform karma. After studying Gita, we have started knowing what is Nishkam karma. When ignorance disappears, attachment decreases. When attachment decreases, selfish desires become weak and weak. When desires are purified, karma no longer binds the soul. Such a devotee gradually attains liberation and union with the God. So for most of us living family life, this is a gradual journey rather than an instant achievement. We have to inculcate this in our daily life slowly but surely. Every act of sincere devotion, of selfless service, of spiritual reflection, it takes one step closer to this goal. Many people think that spirituality belongs only to monks, sannyasis. This shloka teaches otherwise. A household can also understand Krishna's divine nature. We also can understand Janma Karma Jive Divyam of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Reading Bhagavad Gita regularly, know him through Bhagavad Gita. Remembering God while performing daily duties, offering results of work to him, or performing family responsibilities as sacred service. Developing faith during both happiness and hardship. A mother preparing food with love, a father earning honestly, or children respecting their parents, or family members helping each other with gratitude can all transform ordinary actions into offerings to God. God likes that bhakti. This is the beginning of living in harmony with Krishna's teachings. Krishna's teaching does not mean you should go and stay in forest or in a cave. Change the way you live your daily life and live as per Krishna's teachings. A successful businessman kept a small picture of Lord Krishna in his office. One day, a young employee asked him, "Sir, do you pray so that your business becomes more profitable?" आप ऑफिस में आने के बाद कृष्ण की प्रार्थना करते हैं क्या? The businessman smiled and replied, "When I was young, I prayed for success. Now I pray that I conduct my business in a way that pleases Krishna." The employee was surprised. The businessman continued, "If I remember that Krishna's actions were always for the welfare of others, I cannot cheat my customer and exploit my employees." His understanding had changed his entire approach to the work. Years later, his company became known not only for financial success, but also for honesty, fairness, and care for employees. He had not merely worshipped Krishna's image, photo pe har chada diya. Not only that, he had tried to understand Krishna's divine actions, divya karma, and reflect them in his own life. That is the way we should copy Krishna's divya karma in our life. So practical lessons for us of this shloka is understand that God's incarnation are acts of compassion, not compulsion. Study Krishna's life to learn how to live, not merely to know his history. Perform your duties with sincerity and without selfish motives. And let devotion influence your decisions at home and at work, not selfishness. See every righteous action as an offering to the God. And remember that true knowledge transforms character, not just the intellect, but it changes the character. So this shloka teaches us, Janma Karma Jame Divyam, that liberation comes through truly understanding the divine nature of Lord Krishna's birth and action. Why did he take birth and what actions he performed? His incarnation is not driven by karma, but by compassion, and his deeds are performed only for welfare of the world. For family people like us, this shloka is an invitation to deepen devotion by learning from Shri Krishna's example and bringing his values in our day-to-day life. Swamiji says, Gita padhe, padhaye, aur jeevan mein laye. This is the way to bring Gita in our life. When work becomes worship, duty becomes devotion, and love becomes selfless, ordinary life becomes a path towards God. That is the way to bring Gita in our daily life. Such understanding gradually frees our soul from bondage of selfishness and ultimately leads to the eternal presence of the Lord. That is the magic of knowing Janma Karma Chame Divyam of Lord Krishna. Next shloka, 10th. Vitaragavaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bhavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha. Vita means free, beyond. Rag means not angry, but attachment. Excessive attraction is rag. Krodha we know, anger. Bhai we know, fear. Manmaya, filled with me, absorbed in me. Upashritaha, having taken refuge in me. Bhava means many people. Jnana, knowledge, spiritual wisdom is jnana. Tapasa, through austerity, through tapas, disciplined spiritual practice, that is tapa. Puta is purified. Madbhavam, my divine state, my nature. Agataha, have attained. So God says, many people, Bho, becoming free from attachment, Vitaragavaya Krodha, attachment, fear and anger, taking refuge in me, Upashritaha, and purified through the discipline of spiritual knowledge, Puta Dhyana Tapasa, have attained my divine nature, Madbhava Agataha. So after explaining the divine nature of his incarnation, right from Shloka Yadai Dharmasya and Paritranam Sadhunam and Janma Karma Chame Divyam, now Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that liberation is not reserved for a chosen few only. Many seekers before Arjuna have already attained God by following the practical spiritual path mentioned in the earlier shloka, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. This shloka gives us hope to every sincere person, that especially our people like us, householders, who wonder whether spiritual realization is possible while fulfilling worldly responsibilities. Can we live in the family and still attain liberation? Shri Krishna describes 5 important qualities that lead a person towards God, attain moksha. Freedom from attachment, vitaraga. Freedom from fear, bhaya. Freedom from anger, krodha. Taking refuge in the God, mama upashritaha. Becoming purified through discipline of knowledge, jnana tapasaha. These qualities are not attained overnight. They develop gradually through sincere living, through devotion, through self-reflection, swadhyaya, and continuous efforts. God says freedom from attachment, vitaraga. Attachment does not mean love only. The Gita never asks you to stop loving your family. Attachment means depending so completely on a person or an object or a situation that our peace of mind disappears when the circumstances change. God says don't depend so much. You love your nearby and dearby, but don't get so much deep into love. For example, loving your children is natural. Becoming anxious about them, that they must always obey your wishes is attachment. Earning money is necessary, yes. But believing money alone determines your happiness is attachment. Shri Krishna teaches us that love deeply but wisely. Perform your duties with affection, but remember that everything ultimately belongs to God. This attitude brings emotional balance in our life. Then God says, freedom from fear, bhaya. Fear is one of the greatest obstacles to our peace of mind. People always keep fearing about criticism by people, old age, death. That is the biggest fear everybody has. Fear of death is the biggest. And uncertain future. Kya hoga aage? When a person truly takes refuge in God, upashritaha, Mamu, as God says, fear gradually starts decreasing. Faith does not guarantee that difficulties will never come. Krishna doesn't say that you read Gita and you will not have difficulties in your life. It doesn't say this false promise. Rather, it gives confidence that whatever comes can be faced with God's guidance and with strength. For people like us, family people, this means doing their best while trusting the outcome to the God. We should keep doing our best and leave everything else to the God. Then freedom from anger, krodha. Anger often arises when expectations are not fulfilled. Parents become angry when children disobey their orders, their instructions. Children becomes angry when parents restrict them. Ye mat karo, wo mat karo. Children get angry. Spouses become angry when they feel misunderstood by their partner. Much of this anger comes from ego and unrealistic expectations. Shri Krishna teaches that wisdom weakens your anger. Before reacting, ask yourself, will my anger improve this situation? किसी के ऊपर गुस्सा करने से will the situation improve? Often calm words achieve far more than the harsh words. This is a proven formula. Controlling anger does not mean suppressing your emotions. It means expressing them with patience, with understanding, and with self-control. Then God says, Mama Upashitaha, taking refuge in God. Taking refuge in God does not mean escaping your responsibilities and saying that Bhagwan Bharose Sab. Not that Upashitaha. It means living with awareness. Awareness that I am not alone. This includes praying before making important decisions, seeking guidance from scriptures, remembering God during success and also in failure. That is Mama Upashritaha. Offering daily work to God. That is Mama Upashritaha. And accepting the life's results with humility. That is Mama Upashritaha. When God becomes the center of our life, worldly changes no longer seem overwhelming for us. That is Mama Upashritaha. Then God says, Jnana tapasa, purified through discipline of knowledge. The phrase Jnana tapasa is beautiful. Tapas usually means austerity. Here Shri Krishna studying sacred teachings regularly like Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranam, reflecting honestly on one's own weakness. If I have weakness, I should accept first. Then only I can work on those. Correcting the mistakes. Accept that you have made mistakes in life. Try to correct those. Practicing self-control. Mano nigra as well as indriya nigra. Replacing ignorance with understanding. After reading Gita, at least our ignorance should reduce, if not completely wiped out. Knowledge becomes tapas when it transforms our character. Reading Gita becomes a jnana tapasa when it starts changing our character by bringing the message of Krishna in our daily life. Then we are doing jnana tapasa. We are getting purified with this wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Rather than merely increasing information, ये पढ़ लिया वो पढ़ लिया अरे ठीक है पढ़ लिया but what have you understood of it? Have you brought it in your day-to-day behavior in your life? So reading one shloka of Gita every day and applying it sincerely is more valuable than memorizing entire Bhagavad Gita without changing one's conduct. Many people pass Sringeri exam also. Gita Varti, they know all 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, but have they lived as per any one shloka of that Bhagavad Gita? Food for thought. Then God says, Madbhava Agataha. So people who follow these three things, they Madbhava Agataha. Krishna says, many people have already attained Madbhavam. This does not mean becoming God in literal sense, that they have become God. No, they have not become God. It means developing divine qualities like God, such as compassion, truthfulness, fearlessness, forgiveness, contentment, selflessness, love, and inner peace. These are all godly qualities. So if we acquire these qualities, God says, Madbhava Agataha. You have become like, As these qualities grow, we become closer and closer to God in our thoughts, in our words, and in our actions. That is what God says, Madbhava Agataha. How to apply this in life? Householders sometimes believe spiritual progress requires renouncing family life. Ghar-bar chhodna padega. Krishna teaches otherwise. Family life itself provides opportunities to reduce attachment. अकेले रहने फिर attachment छोड़ना, that makes no sense. Living in the family and living attachment is a greater challenge than living in a forest and saying, I have left all attachment. Living in the family and overcoming anger is more important. Strengthening faith and cultivating wisdom. So every disagreement teaches us patience in family life. Every responsibility teaches us selflessness in family life. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to remember God in our family life. The home itself can become a spiritual training ground for us. When we follow Gita's message in our daily life, our home will become more prosperous for us spiritually than an ashram. A middle-aged woman cared for her elderly mother, managed her household, and worked full-time. Many people admired her calmness. One friend asked us, how do you never lose your temper? She smiled and said, I used to become angry every day. Then I started reading one shloka of Gita every day. Every morning, I read one shloka of Gita. Before reacting, I ask myself whether my words will increase peace or increase pain. Over the years, her habit changed her personality. Her family noticed that arguments became fewer in the family. Her children learned patience by watching her example rather than listening to lectures. Her spiritual practice did not remove her responsibility. It transformed the way she carried them. A father lost his job unexpectedly. Naturally, the family was worried. Instead of giving in to fear or blaming others, he gathered the family every evening for a short prayer and encouraged everyone to remain hopeful while he searched for the new job, new work. Weeks later, he found another job. His children later said that what impressed them most was not that he eventually found another job, but that he remained calm, honest, and faithful throughout this difficult period and kept the family together in these testing times. This experience taught them that taking refuge in God does not eliminate one's challenges. जो आप जाना है तो जाएगा ही वो. It gives us the strength to face them with courage and dignity. So this shloka assures us that path to God has been successful, walked by countless seekers before us. Many people have learned Gita before us. They have followed principles of Gita in their life. By gradually becoming free from attachment, fear, and anger, vitarag bhaya krodha, taking wholehearted refuge in God, mamopashritaha, and allowing spiritual knowledge to purify our hearts, bhavad jnana tapasa, we move closer to his divine nature, madbhavagataha. So for family people like us, this shloka is especially encouraging because it teaches us that spiritual realization does not require abandoning home or duty. Instead, every relationship, every responsibility, and every challenge can become a means of growing in wisdom, growing in devotion, and growing in inner peace. Take everything as an exercise in following the principles of Gita in our daily life. When daily life is lived with faith, with self-control and love, the ordinary home becomes a sacred place where God's presence is experienced every day, every moment. Further, 13th sloka. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah tasya kartarmapi mam vidya kartaram avyayam. Another important topic. Chaturvarnyam, the fourfold social order, that is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Maya, by me. Srishtam is created. Guna, guna is guna. Prakriti is three gunas. Sattva, Rajatamo. Karma is karma, action. Duty is work. Vibhagashaha, according to divisions or classifications. Tasya, of that. Mam, me. Vidhi, no, understand. Akartaram, non-doer, unattached doer is akartaram. Avyayam, eternal, unchanging. God says, the fourfold social order, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, is fourfold social order, was created by me. God says, Chaturvarnam maya srishtam, मैंने create किया वो, according to the divisions of quality and action, guna karma vibhagashaha. Nowhere in Gita it says, janma vibhagashaha. So whether you are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is not decided by your janma, it is decided by your guna and your karma. God says, though I am its creator of the Chaturvarna system, know me to be the non-doer and eternal. What does it mean? This shloka is one of the most discussed and often misunderstood shloka of Bhagavad Gita. At first glance, it appears that God, Krishna, is speaking about the four varnas, social order. However, a careful reading shows us that he bases them not on birth. Nowhere he has said Janma will decide whether you are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but on guna, on your natural qualities, on the karmas, your action and your responsibilities. The emphasis of this shloka is on aptitude, on character, and on duty, not the hereditary privilege or social superiority. It is not necessary that a person born in Brahmin family will always be Brahmin. Imagine the day he joins army, he goes to the border and he says, that I am a Brahmin. I don't like violence. Can you perform his task? The day he joins army, he has changed to Kshatriya. He has become Kshatriya now. He is no more a Brahmin. Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So the ancient society, Krishna describes 4 broad categories of work that help society function harmoniously. Brahman, those inclined towards knowledge, towards teaching, towards spirituality, and towards wisdom, Jnana. Kshatriya, those gifted in leadership, courage, protection, and administration. Vaishya, those skilled in trade, agriculture, finance, and wealth creation are Vaishyas. And Shudras, who gave importance to service. They excelled in skilled services, craftsmanship, technical work, and practical execution of work. Each role is valuable. Just as the human body needs head, arms, stomach, legs, society also needs thinkers. It needs leaders. It needs entrepreneurs. And it needs skilled workers. None is superior or inferior. Gita professes Samatvayi Ogochyate. Equanimity has been emphasized in Gita in several shlokas in all adhyas almost. Equanimity, equanimity, equanimity. Why God will create disparity in the society by saying Brahman is Shrestha? God doesn't say that. All contribute to the well-being of the society. Guna and karma, not birth. Krishna carefully uses this phrase. Guna karma vibhagashaha, according to qualities and according to your karma, according to your actions. This is the key to understanding this shloka. Guna karma vibhagashaha. A person born into a family of teachers may naturally become a teacher. A child of a farmer, if he doesn't like farming, he can become a scientist. The option is his. His guna and karma will decide that. Someone born in a wealthy family may dedicate life to social service. That is his choice, his guna and karma. What determines one's role is not the birth, but one's nature, his abilities, his values, and chosen actions. As I said, a person born in Brahman family can become a Kshatriya by joining army. So this interpretation is supported throughout Gita. Guna Karma Vibhagasha. There is a slogan 18 that they also about it. When Shri Krishna repeatedly teaches that a person's character and conduct are the true measures of his greatness. God says God is the creator, but he remains unattached. The second half of shloka is equally profound. Krishna says, though I am the creator, know me as the non-doer. What does it mean? I have created, but know me as non-doer. How can both be true? The answer lies in the principle of detachment. The sun enables plant to grow, yet the sun does not become attached to any particular tree. Rain nourishes every field, but it does not claim ownership over the crop. Similarly, God creates and sustains the universe, but remains free from selfish attachment to its activities. When Rabindranath Tagore he wrote Gitanjali, people asked him, how did you write Gitanjali? It's such a beautiful poetry. Rabindranath Tagore said, it happened to me. I did not write it. God made it happen through me, that's all. A music director who creates a beautiful composition, people ask him, how did you imagine all this? He has not replied to it. He says, God got it, created me. I don't know how it happened. But it just happened. A painter, he creates beautiful painting. You ask him, how did you imagine all this? He has no reply. It gets happened through him. Likewise, God says, I created it, but I'm not the doer. This is the ideal Krishna wants every human being to follow in life. Do your work, but don't claim the ownership of your work. We should perform our responsibilities wholeheartedly, but without arrogance or without possessiveness. Now, how to apply this teaching in our day-to-day life? Many parents compare their children. One child may enjoy academics, another may be gifted in music, a third may excel in sports or in business. Problem arises when parents try to force every child into the same profession or measure success by only one standard. A doctor insists that my son should become doctor and take care of my hospital or my clinic. He has no liking for medical. He has liking for music. Why do you force him? Krishna reminds us that every individual has a unique quality. The duty of parents is to recognize these qualities, natural tendencies, and help them blossom those tendencies, those habits, those likings. A family becomes happier when every member is encouraged to contribute according to his or her strength rather than according to social expectations. Similarly, within a household, one person may be good at managing finance, for example. Another may be excellent care giver. Someone else may be skilled in planning or solving problems. Respecting each person's strength, it creates harmony in the family. So what do we understand from this shloka? Shri Krishna presents a timeless principle for building a healthy society and a harmonious family through this shloka. Lord Shri Krishna explains that people differ in their natural qualities and abilities. Guna karma are different. And therefore, they contribute to society in different ways. The true basis of one's role is guna, inner nature, and karma, actions, not birth or social status. At the same time, Shri Krishna reveals his own example. Although he is the creator of the universe, he remains unattached and free from ego. This teaches us that how to perform our responsibilities with dedication, with humility, and with selflessness. Shri Krishna performed all these 4 roles in his life. When he was in Vrindavan taking care of cattle, he was a Vaishya. When he killed so many Rakshasas, Asuras, participated in wars, he was a Kshatriya. And when he is delivering Geeta, he is a Brahman, Jnana. And Pandavas, when performed Yajna, Shri Krishna served the food to all the Rishis, Munis. He cleaned their utensils. He offered them all services. So, Shudra also. So, how can you brand? Will you say Krishna is Shudra or Krishna is Brahman, Krishna is Kshatriya? We keep changing our roles every day. A mother, for example, when she is teaching her child, she is a Brahmin. When she goes for shopping, buying merchandise for her house, she negotiates with the traders. That time she becomes Vaishya. And when someone talks bad words about her daughter in the street, she takes Rudravatar, she becomes Kshatriya. And after, when she serves her family, cooking food, cleaning utensils, she is a Shudra. So can you brand any person as Brahman, Vaishya, Shudra? Guna Karma Vibhagasha. These are not the fixed roles. We keep changing these roles. Next loka. Namang karmani limpanti, name karma phale spraha, iti mayo bhijanati, karma bhirna sabadhyate. We'll go directly to the meaning now. Time is not there now. Quickly. God says, no action binds me, nor do I have any desire for any fruits of actions. One who truly understands this about me will take that. He is also not bound by the results of action. So after explaining that he creates and sustains the world, while remaining unattached, Lord Krishna now reveals the secret of freedom in action. He says that although he performs countless actions for the welfare of the universe, those actions never bind him because he has no selfish desire, no selfish attachment to their results. Namang karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha. My actions don't bind me because I have no spruha, no desire. This shloka is one of the foundations of Karma Yoga. Shri Krishna is not asking us to stop working. Rather, he teaches us how to work in such a way that work does not become a burden or a source of bondage. The problem is not action, but the attachment. Why are we bound by our karmas? Why can't we get rid of our bondage? Every day we perform hundreds of actions. Working, cooking, earning, studying, caring for family, or making decisions, or helping others. Yet, some actions leave us peaceful, others leave us anxious and exhausted. Why? Shri Krishna points out to the real cause, attachment to the fruits of action. For example, I must get this promotion. My children must always obey my order, my instructions. Everyone should appreciate my efforts. My business must never suffer. People must always praise me. When our happiness depends on entirely this kind of outcomes, and when they are not fulfilled, our peace disappears. All the heard and read knowledge goes out of window. Even before result arrives, we become restless. If success comes, we fear losing it. If failure comes, we become discouraged. Thus, it is the attachment, not work, that creates the bondage. God acts without selfish motive. Everything in nature teaches this divine principle to us. The sun shines every day without expecting thanks. Do we thank sun every day? River flows, quenching the thirst of all, without asking who deserves water. She serves everybody. A tree gives fruits and shade to every person who throws, even those who throws the stones at her, at the tree. Similarly, God continuously supports the entire universe without seeking praise, without seeking reward, or without seeking recognition. Do we thank the God for sun rising every day? Do we thank the God that the rain is falling now? We think this should happen. His actions arise from compassion, not from personal desire. Shri Krishna invites us to adopt this same spirit in our daily life. Keep doing your karma, don't take the ownership and attachment to the karma phala. Freedom lies in our attitude. The family life provides countless opportunity to practice this teaching in our life. Parents work hard to educate their children. They should certainly guide and support them and discipline also them. However, they cannot control every decision that their children will make. A husband or wife should care deeply for the family, but should not expect constant application in return. A person caring for elderly parents may sometimes feel unnoticed or unappreciated. इतना करता हूँ कि मुझे बोलते नहीं अच्छा कर रहा है करके. If service is performed only for praise, disappointment follows. It is offered as an act of love and duty. Then heart becomes peaceful. Similarly, a homemaker may prepare meals every day without receiving compliments. आज सब्जी बढ़िया बनाया. People don't say that, just eat and say, okay, we go. Yet nourishment given to the family in itself is an expression of love for the family. Shri Krishna reminds us that love expressed without constant expectation of recognition, it becomes a source of inner joy for us rather than frustration. A school teacher, he spent 30 years teaching in a small town. Many students barely remembered to thank him or thank her. She was a lady. Some even complained about her strict discipline. One day, years after retiring, several former students visited her. One had become a doctor, another an engineer, another a social worker. They all told her, at the time, we did not understand your discipline. Today we realize that you shaped our lives. The teacher smiled and replied, I taught because teaching was my duty and my joy, not because I expected gratitude from you. Her peace was never depending on the appreciation from her students. She kept on performing her kartavya karma, her duty. The recognition came much later, but she had already lived a fulfilled life, that I have performed my kartavya karma, my duty. This is the spirit Krishna describes. Working wholeheartedly without being enslaved by the expectations. So, in family, perform every responsibility with sincerity and with excellence. Avoid making your happiness depend entirely on external results. Serve family members out of love rather than for praise or for recognition. Teach children to value efforts as much as achievement. Remember that many outcomes are influenced by factors beyond your control. You can't control every outcome. In 18 that they will learn that every karma depends on 5 factors. Daiva is one of them. Offer every action to God, trusting that sincere efforts never goes waste. So this shloka reveals one of the greatest secrets of peaceful and meaningful life for us. Lord Shri Krishna declares that actions do not bind him because he has no selfish attachment to their fruits. Tamang karmani limbanti name karma phale spruha. मेरे में spruha है ही नहीं. The bondage of karma does not arise from work itself, but from the ego, from the possessiveness, and from the craving for specific outcomes. So for family people like us, this teaching transforms everyday life for us. Whether earning a livelihood, raising children while remaining inwardly free, caring for parents, managing home, or serving society, we can work diligently while remaining inwardly free in all this. When actions are performed with devotion, with sincerity, and without selfish attachment, they become worship rather than burden for us. We want to change, transform every karma, every work that we do into a divine work, divya karma, like God said. And God gives us ample opportunities in day-to-day life to convert our sakam karma into divya karma, like God performs. So it becomes a worship rather than a burden for us. By following Krishna's example, we discover that true freedom is not bound by escaping our duties, our karma, but by performing them with pure heart, without ego, and with complete trust on the divine. Such a life brings out not only external success for us, but also the priceless gift of lasting inner peace. Next shloka. एवैज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतम्. We'll go directly to the meaning instead of word by word. Knowing this truth, evaijñātva, knowing this truth, even the ancient seekers of liberation, mumukshubhi, purvaitari, perform their duties. Therefore, you too should perform your prescribed duties as they were performed by the great ones of the old age. Evaijñātva kritam karma, purvairapi mumukshubhi, kuru karmaiva tasmatvam, पूर्व पूर्वतरं कृतम. पुराने लोगों ने किया, मोक्ष प्राप्त किया, आप भी करिए और आप भी मोक्ष प्राप्त करिए. Simple teaching. So after teaching that actions do not bind one who performs them without attachment, Shri Krishna now gives Arjuna a practical instruction. He reminds Arjuna that this is not a new philosophy that he is teaching. The great sages, the great Rajarshis, kings, and seekers of liberation, that is Mukshubhi, who lived before him, also follow this very path. Therefore, Shri Krishna says, do your duty just as the noble people before you did. So this shloka highlights two important truths for us. One, spiritual wisdom is meant to be lived, not merely admired. गीता बहुत बढ़िया है, गीता अच्छी है, और ठीक है, गीता अच्छी है. You don't only admire. It is to be lived. Second, the lives of noble people are valuable guide for our own lives. Gita says that yadadajarti shrestha tattadevetaro janaha sat praman kurte lokastadanu vartate. So the lives of noble people are a valuable guide for us. We should follow their examples in life. God says liberation does not require escaping responsibilities. Many people imagine that spiritual life means giving up family, giving up work, giving up society. Krishna corrects our misunderstanding. He points out that even those who desired moksha continued performing their duties. Moksha चाहिए क्या, इसलिए बैठे रहे क्या? They did not perform their duties or what? Ancient king like King Janak, who is praised later in Gita also, there is a shloka about Janak. He ruled kingdoms while remaining spiritually enlightened. Great sages taught their disciples. They guided society, they cared for people, and fulfilled their responsibilities in life. Their freedom came not from abandoning the work, but from purifying their attitude towards the work. This is an encouraging message for all of us. One need not leave home to become spiritual. घर बैठे spirituality कर सकते हैं. A parent caring for children, an employee working honestly, a homemaker managing the household, or a doctor treating patients can all progress spiritually if they perform their duties with sincerity and without selfish attachment. God says, learn from those who have already walked before you. Krishna tells Arjuna to follow the examples of those who lived before him. Why should we follow the examples? Because experience is one of the greatest teachers. We don't have to learn from our own experience every time. It may be very expensive. We have to learn from experiences of others. When we learn only from our own mistakes, the life becomes very difficult. When we learn from wisdom of great people, our journey becomes smoother and faster. Every generation inherits knowledge from previous generation. Parents teach their children, teachers guide their students, saints inspire their devotees. The scriptures preserve timeless wisdom. Humility means recognizing that we do not need to reinvent every truth ourselves. Our forefathers have already done this. Follow their path. So how to apply this in family life? This shloka has a profound relevance in our family life. Today's world often glorifies shortcuts and instant success. 2 minutes noodle everybody wants. People sometimes seek quick results without discipline or without responsibility. Shri Krishna reminds us that lasting happiness is built upon consistent righteous actions. Parents influence their children more by example than by lecture. If children see honesty, patience, discipline, and compassion practiced at home, they naturally absorb those values. If the father tells the child, his young boy, his young son, that smoking is bad, you should never smoke, people smoking may get cancer also, it is written on that cancer, that cigarette box also. He understands the message, but in the evening, same father starts smoking. What will he learn? He will learn more from action or from the words of his father. So children learn more from our behavior rather than our words. Similarly, family traditions such as daily prayers, respecting elders, or celebrating festivals with devotion and serving society, it creates a living spiritual culture in the family. Each generation passes these values to the next. This is the way the noble traditions continue. So practical lessons for us is, do not think that spirituality requires abandoning family responsibilities. Learn from the lives of saints, from wise elders, and from people of integrity. Perform daily duties with devotion and with sincerity. Become a role model for your children through your actions, not through your words, but through your actions. Getting up in the morning, if you don't stand in front of your puja ghar and say through mantras or through shlokas, but keep advising your children to do that, will they follow it? We need to set an example ourselves. Respect family traditions that promote values and spiritual growth. Focus on consistency rather than seeking quick success. Remember that every honest duty can become an offering to the God. So this shloka reminds us that the path of selfless action is timeless. The great seekers of liberation in ancient times did not escape from their responsibilities. They transformed their work into the means of spiritual growth. Lord Krishna therefore urges Arjuna, and of course all of us, to follow their examples. For family people like us, this shloka offers immense hope and practical guidance. But does not have to choose between family life and spiritual life. Ye karu ya wo karu. You can do both. While living family life, you can be on the path of spirituality. By performing daily responsibilities with honesty, with dedication, humility, and freedom from selfish attachment, every home can become a place of spiritual practice. We have to convert our home to a spiritual practice center. When we learn from the wisdom of those who came before us and perform our duties as an offering to the God, ordinary actions, they become extraordinary. This is the way to make ordinary to extraordinary. Cooking a meal, earning a livelihood, raising children, caring for parents, or helping neighbor can all become acts of worship. Everybody performs this, but expecting something in return, or boosting the ego, or claiming the doership, or claiming something in return. God says, if you give up that, then every action of yours can become a divya karma like my karmas. Learn from my example and convert every karma of yours into a divya karma. I will give you opportunities in abundance every day to perform a divya karma. You waste those opportunities. So this is the essence of karma yoga, a life where responsibility and spirituality, they work hard, they work hand in hand. Leading gradually, this kind of attitude will lead us gradually towards inner freedom, lasting peace, which is the objective of our life. I think we can stop here. We can take the remaining shlokas in the next session. Or if you want, we can take more. Choice is yours. Or we can open the question answer session.
Okay. Either way, it's fine, Bhayaji. Shall we continue? Do you want to cover more shlokas, or shall we go ahead with the question and answer?
Shall we take one or more shlokas, or should we stop here and take question answer? Choice is yours.
Okay. And we are seeing some hand raises. So maybe they are getting ready for the question and answer. Is
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Bhayaji. And as always, Vikas, Bhayaji, that was an enlightening session, and with all the examples that we can relate to, right? That is what makes it very interesting, and we can try to follow these as well. And before we get started with the question and answer, I know everybody is eagerly waiting. A quick announcement. Level 1 Geeta batch is going to start from 7th of August. We request you to share the joingeeta.com link with your family and friends so that they can also start learning the Geeta and become part of this divine family. You already know what to do. So yes, there was this Paul Bhayaji, Jai Shri Krishna.
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead and ask the question.
Respected sir, I am overwhelmed with the division. Very, very grateful to your respected sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, what is the meaning of Satchidananda?
When you have installed God in your heart, when you realize that God is sitting in your heart, Sarvasya Amrisanna Vishto and Mamai Moksha Jivaloke, when you start taking anubhuti of God's presence in you, and when this feeling of Aham Brahmasmi comes into you, that is Satchidananda. God is in me. Sat,
Therefore,
Chitta, Anand.
Sat means
Sat.
Prakash.
Sat means truth. The truth is that God is in me. That
So
Ananda,
what
that
is
happiness.
truth? So what is truth?
Truth is that God is in you, but you don't realize that. We don't realize that God is in me. The day we realize that I am a soul, I am a fragment of God, Mami Mausha, I am an Ansha of God, and we start taking anubhuti of this fact which God has repeatedly said in Gita, that leads us to Satchidananda. That Ananda, that I am God, is it anything less than Satchidananda? So that is Satchidananda.
Yes.
Remaining in presence of God, considering yourself as a fragment of God, that Ananda is eternal. No Ananda can compare with that Ananda.
This Ananda joy is eternal.
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 Yes. Once it comes to you, nobody can rob of you of this Ananda.
So, can I pray to this type of Ananda throughout our life?
See, this Ananda comes to you not overnight. You have to do your spiritual sadhana for years. You have to do dhyana, meditation for years on these important shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma cha me divam emam yo vittadatva tektva deham punarjanma naitim ameti saurjuna.
Yes, yes,
So we
yes, yes.
should take a count of karmas that we have done till now in our life. How many of those were divya karma and how many of those were not divya karma? So take a study of ourselves based on the teachings of Bhagavad Gita every day in our meditation is a way to enter into that Satchitananda.
Sir,
As God says, Madbhava Magataha, if you really get into that Madbhava Magataha, then that leads you to Satchidananda. But for that, you have to follow the principles said in Gita. Janma karma chame divam emam yo vittata tektva deham punarjanma netim amiti sorjana and vitaragavaya krudha manmaya mamashita bhavad jnanatapasada putama dhamagata. All these teachings what we have discussed today, our jnanatapasa will lead us to the Satchidananda.
So, what is Gahana? What is Gahana?
Gahana? What is Gahana? Gahan means deep. Gahan means deep. Deep. Not so easy to understand. Gahan is not easy to understand. You have to contemplate. You have to do thinking on it deeply. Then only you can probably absorb the meaning of it. Gahan means something which is difficult to understand easily.
Sir, in the next session of division, please discuss about the karma, akarma, bikarma, naiskarma.
Yeah, of course, yes. That will come in the process of Vivechan. It will come. Karma,
Yes, yes.
akarma, and vikarma. It will definitely come. These three are important definitions for us.
Yes,
But in short, if I tell you now, karma is the everyday activity that we perform.
Yes.
Nobody can live without karma. Nahi kashchit kshanamavi jatu tishtate karma krut. Without performing karma, we cannot live even for a second in our life. So whatever we keep doing with the actions that we perform with our hands, with our body, with our tongue is all karma. Vikarma is something which is not prescribed, which is prohibited. Performing actions which are prohibited for us, like insulting parents, is a vikarma. Then what is akarma? Akarma means perform actions, but don't claim the doership of it. We have like akarta and don't expect the return reward of it. Give up the expectations of reward and return the reward. Convert your karma into akarma. Converting karma into akarma, it frees you of the bondage of karmas. And that is the skill of living life, Krishna says. When we learn these definitions, Krishna will say, the skill of life is living life, performing karma like an akarma, and making life of akarma as the life of living, as a style of living life. That is the skill of life. Walk in the mud, but don't get the clud cling to your body. Perform karma, but don't get attached with the karma. The bondage of karma should not bind you. That is the skill of living life.
Without expectation, any proofs from the work, is it connected with the sloka number 47 of chapter 2?
Karmanyavadhikarastham aphaleshu kadachana. That 47 shloka is this only. So this teaching of Gita comes repeatedly. God keeps hammering the same principle several times in Gita so that it gets fit in our mind. Same principle of equanimity has been said in several shlokas. This karmaphala tyag and kartruva bhiman tyag has been elaborately explained in many shlokas of Gita.
Yes.
The principles of Gita, if I count, will not be more than 10, but they are spread over 700 shlokas.
Yes.
God has given different examples and different circumstances to prove the point. Because we don't understand easily, no? So God knows we don't understand easily. So Maharishi Vedavyas has elaborated those 10 thoughts into 700 shlokas so that we keep reciting those and keep those thoughts keep entering our mind again and again. Then only we become deeply rooted with those thoughts.
Okay, sir. The main thing is selfless, honestly work.
Yes.
To the
If I tell, which I normally tell in every vivation, that if we learn the skill of removing two poisonous teeth of our karma, our every karma has two poisonous teeth. One poisonous teeth is kartrutva bhiman, sense of doership, is one poisonous teeth, which keeps us under bondage. Second poisonous teeth is expectation of return and reward. मेरे को क्या मिलेगा ये कर्म परफॉर्म करके. If you remove that teeth, poisonous teeth also, so we remove two poisonous teeth of this snake called karma. One is of kartrutva bhiman, second is of reward expectation. Every karma becomes harmless without bondage. That is karma yoga. That is the skill of living life. Perform every karma by removing this poisonous teeth of your karma.
yes.
Nice.
Sir.
Jai Shri
Thank
Krishna. Any other questions,
Beautifully
please?
summarized. Very nice. Maruti ji Didi, Jai Shri Krishna. Yes, please unmute and ask.
कृष्णा दीदी,
Jai Shri Krishna.
जय श्री राम। गुरु जी,
जय श्री कृष्ण।
मैं हिंदी में बात कर सकती हूँ?
जी जी, बोलिए बोलिए।
भले। मैं रोज पूजा पाठ करती हूँ, लेकिन
जी।
हमारे बच्चे जो है, मेरे बहू, क्यों पूजा करना बार बार क्यों करते हैं? आप तो 1-2 घंटे पूजा में बैठते हैं, ऐसे बोलते हैं सर, क्यों? वे लोग डॉक्टर है।
हाँ देखिए, ऐसा है कि फॉर एवरीवन दैट thing has to come in their life. Sooner or later they will realize. But you keep performing this kind of, keep creating this kind of sanskars in front of them. Sooner or later, these sanskars will change their life also. Just because they are not liking it today, don't give up your way of spirituality. Don't give up reading Gita, don't give up reading stotras that you are doing. Keep continuing that. Your life is different than their life. Your path is different than their path. If they learn from your path, it is good for them. But if you change your path because they are not liking it, you will be in trouble.
No, I won't change, sir. But I am asking why they are like that.
See, the mentality, the circumstances in which they are living in outside world are different than the circumstances in which we have lived in our life or we are now living. If you are retired and you are fully concentrated only on God, then you have no other thing to live for. Only God realization. Well, they have some other things to live for in life. When that attraction of material life will start reducing, then they will also come to your path only. They will know that this is the best option to live the life. Sooner or later, everybody comes to spirituality. That is guaranteed. In Sanatan Dharma, everybody comes. The only thing is, we need to have that in our family. They need to learn from our examples.
Okay. मैं टीचर थी, रिटायर हो गई, ऐसे खाली नहीं बैठती थी, फिर भी
हाँ।
पूजा पाठ करती थी
वो
ऐसे।
तो करना ही चाहिए, लेकिन सिर्फ पूजा पाठ करने से बजाय
हाँ हाँ
जोर
करती
से गीता पढ़िए, जोर से राम रक्षा पढ़िए, जोर से हनुमान चालीसा पढ़िए, जोर से विष्णु सहस्त्रनाम पढ़िए, जो भी आपको आता है जोर से पढ़ते रहिए।
करती हूँ सर,
लेट इट
सुबह
फॉल
शाम
ऑन
को
देयर
करती
ईयर,
हूँ ऐसे।
लेट इट फॉल ऑन देयर ईयर।
हाँ हाँ ओके, थैंक यू।
Srimad Narayana Bhayaji, Jai Shri Krishna. Yes,
Jai
please.
Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna Didi, Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. I have a small understanding that in the ninth sloka, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, Evayyo Vetti Tattvataha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sojjuna. In this one, it seems that Bhagavatam is there. That is the Krishna Leelas. So it is the stories of Krishna Leelas Bhagavatam. Is it sufficient to get some moksha?
Sorry, I
Punarjanma.
don't understand. What is the question? Reading story of Bhagavata?
Bhagavatam.
हाँ हाँ, Bhagavatam.
By reading of Bhagavatam, that indicates that is the Krishna Leelas.
हाँ हाँ.
So we can attain the moksha.
No, provided you bring the teaching in your day-to-day life. Janma karma chi me divam emam yo vetti tattva
Janma karma cha
tyaktva
me
deyam
divyam.
punan.
So that is the Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam means that is the Janma and Karma of the gods. Me
Yes,
Divyam.
God. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
If we read that how he has born and how he has done his Leelas, that is the Bhagavan Leelas, Bhagavat Leelas. If
Yes.
you understand and read that Bhagavat Leelas, shall we reach the point of moksha?
Merely reading will not lead you to moksha. Bringing that in
Understanding
your
also
life,
there. Understanding.
bringing that in your life will lead you to moksha. Many people read Geeta. Will everybody get moksha? Unless you bring it in our life. I always quote Swamiji's Gita पढ़े पढ़ाए और जीवन में लाए. Whether you read Bhagavad, whether you read Vishnu Sahasranam, whether you read Ramayana, or whether you read Gita, unless you bring it in our life and we get transformed in our daily life, how can we expect moksha? Many
Yeah,
scholars are there who read,
yeah,
who
correct,
can
sir.
give excellent pravachan on Gita, but they themselves don't change their habits.
By
Then how can they lead
understanding
to
the
moksha?
ninth sloka, I thought that by reading and by understanding
Merely
Bhagavatam.
reading does not help. Merely
Oh,
reading does not help. Changing the
okay,
life based on that reading does help.
okay,
Only
okay.
reading is okay. It will boost your ego that I have read Bhagavatam, I know Gita. So instead of getting ego boosted, if
So
we follow
that
that
means
principle in our life, then that
punya,
helps us better.
that is a punya account will increase.
Right.
That is it correct, sir?
Yeah, that's right. It will create punya for us. But see, every karma starts with sakam karma. So
Okay.
reading Bhagavatam is also with that intention that I am getting punya. Okay, keep reading it. But ultimately, you will come to a stage when you will not be happy with only reading. You will try to copy what is read, what is understood by you from Bhagavatam, and you will try to copy that in your day-to-day life. And that is the moment when these things will start changing.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Urjit.
So
Thank you.
reading. That's why I always insist that reading should be followed by dhyan, by meditation. Janma karma chi me divyam. This slok we should meditate upon. In one of the sessions of our Vivechan, I want to sit for dhyan with all of you
Okay.
and even demonstration as to how to do dhyan on these
So,
shlokas of Gita. We'll select one shloka of this fourth adhyay and we'll enter into dhyan for 10-15 minutes to demonstrate how we can bring this Gita in our day-to-day life by doing dhyan on these shlokas.
Very nice. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
any
you.
other questions, please?
Renuji Didi, Jai Shri Krishna. Yeah, please unmute and ask the question.
Jai Shri Krishna, Priya.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question is that why do we react instead of responding if somebody, unnecessarily speaks badly to us? We are not able to stay calm at that time. What to do, You immediately react.
See, there is a difference between react and respond. Reaction comes without thinking. Somebody talks bad words to you, you react spontaneously. without thinking of the consequences. The response goes with some intellect. When you think about it and respond in such a manner that it does not hurt you, it does not hurt that person, it does not disturb the peace of your mind. So every situation we should understand to respond rather than to react. Normal common people will react to situation. We need to respond to situation using our intellect. That is the way to react. Even in family life, if somebody talks in bad words to you, don't respond immediately. Don't react immediately. Respond it after thinking for a couple of minutes. Think the pros and cons of it, and then respond in proper words. So response is always better than reaction. Reaction is instant, normally harmful. Respond is good for you, good for the person who is getting response from you. So response creates harmony, reaction creates enmity.
But it just comes, what to do. I mean, how to develop that thing that you have patience, one should develop, you mean?
Yeah, think, count up to 10, as our forefathers have been telling, count up to 10 before responding, before reacting. If somebody asks you some question which is disturbing you, then count up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, and then respond it. Don't respond, don't react immediately. Your anger should subside. You see, any response given in anger is harmful. For us, for him, it may or may not be, but for us, it's harmful.
When somebody say insults us, our ego is hurt. And
I'll tell you honestly one thing. The person who is insulting us, he will feel guilt sooner or later, and that insult will harm him more than what it harms you. Your insult, you may feel bad for some time, but that fellow, he will feel the guilt of it for the whole of his life unless he apologizes to you. This is going to happen. You don't think that people will talk bad words to you and they will live happily ever after. That never happens. Human mind is such that it starts feeling guilty sooner or later, and they will for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One Didi had said before that she is praying, but her children are not praying. I would just like to share something.
Yeah.
My husband used to make fun of me when I was praying, and he would say, whole day you are spending, doing the work and then sitting and doing bhakti and all that. And now, after it is 37 years of marriage, now he's become such a Krishna Bhakt, because when ISKCON temple has opened near my house, I used to hide and do the japa. Mala ko leke chup ke karti thi main, because he would shout at me. And now he is doing mala. He is keeping Bhagavad-Gītā near his pillow. And every morning, 4:30, take bath, go to the temple, and 5 to 6, attending Mangala Aarti, and in the evening for lecture, Bhagavad-Gītā.
Great.
So I was just telling Didi, we need to have patience, and
but I tell
naturally.
you, Didi, that sooner or later, maybe for later for him, he has learned from what you have been doing. So never give up the way you have been living.
No, I won't.
Others will learn from it. Sooner or later, they will learn from it.
मेरे को तो कोई और सहारा भी नहीं है. जब मेरे को बड़ा बड़ा दुख आया जीवन में, मेरे को तो भगवान ने कोई पकड़ा तो मेरा तो ठीक हुआ.
सबका सहारा वही है दीदी. किसी का सहारा और कोई बाहर रहता ही नहीं. देखिए, सबका सहारा भगवान ही है. हमारा सहारा कोई और कोई क्या कोई. सबका सहारा वही है. वो that we should have full conviction, full devotion for him.
जी. Thank you, bhai.
Yes, thank you, and thanks for that. Your experience in 37 years, that patience really. It is really good, Didi. That was such a nice lesson. And yes, and I saw Vijaya Didi raising a hand, and later it was, if Didi, if you are still here and if you have a question, please do raise your hand. You can turn on the video. Otherwise, we'll move forward with the session. And Vikas ji, Bhaiya ji, there are many messages echoing the same sentiment. They loved your session and found it very, very relatable. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Two shlokas I think were left out. Kangshan karmam siddhi yente ye devata kshiprami manusha loke siddhir bhavati karmaja, and ye yathamam prapadyante tan sadeva bhajamya Mama Vartmanu Vardante Manushya Partha Sarvasha. We'll take care of those in the next session.
Great. Thank you so much. And I would like to take a quick minute to thank the entire technical team and the devotees who attended today's session. It is may the clarity that we gained from today's session stay with us as we return to our daily responsibilities and our daily life. May the Gita continue to inspire and guide us in every step we take. Before we will this obviously, as we all know, this session also wouldn't have been possible without Bhagwan Shri Krishna's blessings. So let us thank Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Now, to do the prarthana, we have Shri M. Venugopal Bhattaji with us. He's a retired official associated with Gita Pariwar since July 2025. Bhayaji is part of the Calling Seva department while pursuing his own Gita Sadhana at level 4. Jai Shri Krishna. Bhayaji, please recite the prayer for us.
जय श्री कृष्ण।
Jai Shri Krishna.
योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण।
Jai Shri Krishna, Bhayaji. Dhanyawad. Yes, now let us all recite Hanuman Chalisa and seek the blessings of protection of Mahavir, Lord Hanumanji.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा गानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र औ ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन वसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।
जय श्री राम, जय हनुमान, जय श्री कृष्ण। सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु। सर्वे जनाः